Hello everybody and welcome to my beginner's crochet tutorial. If you've ever wanted to try crochet but weren't sure where to start, this video is for you. We'll be going over the absolute basics today, just enough to get you comfortable with your hook, your yarn and a few beginner stitches. Now don't worry if you've never picked up a hook before, I will take it nice and slow so you can follow along at your own pace. Now start off, you will need a crochet hook. I recommend starting with a 4mm, which is a pretty average, nice size for most projects. Move, little buddy. And a medium weighted acrylic yarn, not too thick, not too thin, just a nice project size. I've grabbed something on offer, which was the Women's Institute acrylic yarn in DK. And the label is pretty helpful. So if you check out the back or sometimes front of the label, it will give you a small diagram. This one says 4mm US 6. So that is the recommended hook size for this type of yarn. Now you also need some scissors because we do not bite our yarn when we want to cut it. We'll also need a threading needle with a nice large eye for threading your yarn through when you're finishing off your ends. And you might want to grab some stitch markers, which help you from going crazy when you're risking losing count of all your row count. Now I will start with how you hold your hook. There are two main methods of holding your hook. There is the pencil method, which is like you're writing, so you're pinching it between your fingers and aiming it downwards for your project. Now there is also my preferred method, which is the knife method, which is just pinching the hook, leaving it free, but it also allows you to guide any loops on your hook during your project just to make it a little bit easier with tension holding. Now for holding your yarn, I tend to wrap it around my little finger and then bring it up with the two fingers, and I wrap it this way around my finger, or I wrap it round the back and that way around my finger. It depends on the project. Sometimes I find this easier, other times I find that easier. So then you can use this to pinch the project just to keep, as you see here, the tension on your project. Otherwise, if I was to take all this away and just hold it, it would literally just pull away like that. There's nothing holding it. Now I'll begin with a slip knot, which is a common starting point in most projects. I pull the tail around my finger to form a cross, pull the other working piece of yarn back around my finger, grab this first loop here and pull it over the top, which is then I would insert my hook through the finger loop and pull, tightening the loop, not too much, just enough. That is how I would do my slip knot. I'll show you that once again a little faster. So I wrap this around this finger, working yarn back across again, loop over the top, hook in, and boom, done. The other style method is a magic ring, which is more common in circular starting patterns like an amigurumi head for a sphere or granny squares. Now I start off with these two fingers and the tail. I wrap the working yarn around my fingers, crossing it and pinching with my thumb. I turn it over and hold it with my other two fingers. Now, yes, I do have large hands, so this makes this easier for me. I push the hook through, pull the working yarn underneath, turn it, and then finish off with a chain stitch. like so. So now I have my magic ring, and you'd begin through the ring with your chains. Now I will go back to a slip knot. Beginning with a slip knot, we will start working on chains. So you pull the tail around, pull it up around the finger, big hoop, insert the crochet hook and pop, we're done. Give that a little tug. You can see spiral, back 2 fingers, index. And now I use my thumb and middle finger to pinch my project just to help it be more secure. From here, in our slip knot, turn the hook, grab the yarn and pull it through the loop. So again, push back behind the yarn, twist it and pull it through the loop. Now what you don't want to do is have it too tight. Now I'm going to show you a version that's a bit too tight. So you can see it's a little harder to grab. What will happen is you struggle to get it through the hole. Or if you make it too loose, let's make a really loose one, then what you end up having is this massive hole here. You don't want that. What you want to do, come back to here, regrip. Now you just want a nice loose tension, just so you can pull the yarn through. As you see, you can just see it slowly there. As I slow this down, you see I'm actually pulling the yarn with this. So again, I'm pushing it, hooking it under, and you can just see if I slow down there a bit more. You're just slightly pulling that, so then when you get faster, you don't end up by overshotting. And you'll also see what I'm doing here is I'm creeping up the chain, because otherwise it just becomes a little bit more, as you see, I have to move my hand up just to get the same tension. You want to creep up every so often as you're pulling your stitches. So a few more. You can get away with one more, and then I will creep up. See, re-grab. Grab the yarn, pull through, grab the yarn, pull through, grab the yarn, pull through. Once more, and creeping up again. Now we zoom in on our chain. What we created is a V symbol. So we have the front loop, so we can get a better look at that. We have the front loop there, the back loop here, and then if we twist it, we have these little bumpy ribs. Now some projects use these bumpy ribs. Most call for you to insert your hook into the front or back loop of a project. But yeah, you can see little tiny bumpy loops in there. So we'll actually show you some single crochet, which don't get confused with the abbreviation side of it just now, but we will stick to the US terminology, which is single crochet. Now we skip this first chain and we will begin with the second chain front loop there. So we will stick the yarn through the front loop, right with the chain, stick it up, hook some yarn, pull it through, and you'll have 2 loops on your hook. Now see, pinching the project to keep it stable, hook the yarn again and pull through these 2 loops. And you'll see that's where your project begins, and that's where the first stitch starts. So now we go to the next chain, stick through the front loop, grab some yarn, pull through, and there. Hence why I like the knife method, because I can guide these. Hook and pull through. You'll see we have 2 stitches. That's not a stitch. This is and this is. Now next chain, hook through, pull through, 2 loops, finish off, and there we have 3. And now you'll see by my little finger I'm pulling to free up some yarn at the back because it's not long enough. So you'd free up some more yarn. Oh, you killed the little one. Oh no. Return, Bubby. You need to reapply your tension, twirly, twirly, and we're back. And get back to zoom, there we go. So you return with a bit more yarn, finish along. Again, you see my finger is guiding. You just continue for as many stitches as you need. You can see why this is just helpful, but this can also be helpful. So it's just finding what the preference is really, and you'll end up with getting used to how your stitches work, tension, and you then start playing with different sizes, different shapes, because this is more ergonomic, which is nice and comfortable. There's other wooden crochet hooks and plastic, but no, they're nice. The metal tips are a lot easier, as you can see, for sliding or work. And that's it. You've just learned the slip knot, the magic ring, how to hold your hook and yarn, and the chain stitch with a single crochet. And thank you so much for joining me today. If you'd like more beginner-friendly tutorials, you can subscribe to my channel so you don't miss the next video. Until then, happy hooking.